You don't seem like the Jund type.
No, I would have been unquenchable fire.
Yeah, for sure. That red deck was actually pretty good though. That was a good red deck. It wasn't pretty with your Hellspark Elementals and your Hell's Thunders and Unquenchable Fires, but it did beat Jund a healthy percentage of the time. Yeah. No one enjoyed getting hit by Putrid Leech, however. But that's a different time, and that's a different story. Right now, we're watching Anderson do battle against Danny Jessup. Favored Hoplite with a Plains is where Todd's going to start. Now, this matchup is typically positive for Heroic, be it Bant or be it White-Blue.
Abzan's got some games. He got some game in the matchup, and Languish is a helpful tool. But this is the type of matchup where you have a lot of 3-mana removal, trying to trade with 1-mana creatures and 1-mana ways of protecting those creatures. And just on a pure mana efficiency level, that's not a great place to be. Also, your creatures aren't very helpful at blocking because Bant, Heroic, or the 2-color build of Heroic can make the creature too large, or there's ways to prevent blocking.
Anderson's going to follow up here with a copy of Hero of Iroas. Pass the turn back over to Jessup. Jessup will draw. For Danny, he's going to have to, if he wants to take this lead away from Ross Merriam, he's going to have to earn it, man.
Yes.
Started with Rob Vaughn, now he's running into Todd Anderson. Rob Vaughn, I know a player that most people don't know, but he is a really good player from the Jersey area. He's in 3rd place of this tournament right now. He's traveling like crazy in Magic tournaments because he wants to move up the Open Series and at the Grand Prix level.
I believe 9th place on Breakers at Grand Prix Providence
that
recently.
Correct.
So has some finishes to his name.
Here is a Temple of Enlightenment. Top card. Going to go to the bottom from the Scry. Favorite Hoplite coming in. One of the things you'll notice about the Bant Heroic deck as opposed to the White-Blue Heroic deck, because Anderson's going to play a Secret Way and pass the turn back, they have less auras.
Yep.
Logan last week, he had 4 Ordeal of Thassa, which Todd has as well, 4 Ordeal of Heliod, 4 Aqueous Form. He may have had another stray aura or 2 hanging out in his deck, and then he had Stratus Walk in the sideboard. But this particular version of the deck, it just has less aura so it can facilitate Dromoka's command.
Right. Well, that's the cost, right? It is another way of facilitating Heroic, yep. So it fits into one of those slots. But, yeah, you don't have quite the same avalanche openings that we saw Logan get consistently, where he's just ordealing and Aqueous Form a creature and blowing his opponent right out of the start of the game. That happens less frequently now.
It seems rare that you're going to find with the Bant Heroic build, an 8/8 Hero of Heroes or something like that. It just doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
Or you start seeing it on turn 6, but it's not happening on turn 4, yeah. Which the 2-color build can do.
Jessup with a 3rd land. Looks like we're going to have a Hero's Downfall on the way. He's going to go after Favorite Hoplite. That's going to resolve. Going after Favorite Hoplite instead of Seeker of the Way.
Usually an indication that Danny's going to be playing creatures and looking to block.
There's a Temple. Top card to the bottom here for Anderson. Seeker just coming across for 2. You can tell that Todd's got a pretty weak hand here. I mean, we haven't even seen a card like Defiant Strike yet. There's, oh boy, the big finish.
The star of the broadcast thus far.
We've talked so much about Jace, but it's really been Laguna Band Trailblazer that's impressed us this weekend. Go forth with honor, return with glory. Here's a Thoughtseize. Anderson's going to play a copy of God's Willing. The Trailblazer is growing.
That's a point of power.
It is. No longer an 0-4. Here's a Scry. Todd can leave that card on top very quickly. Jessup going to take 2 from the Thoughtseize, as Anderson's last card is just a copy of Windswept Heath. That's the green mana he needs for Dromoka's command, of course, but doesn't have one just yet. Jessup going to play a Temple of Silence. Take a look at that top card. That's going to go to the bottom now.
Huge card in the matchup here for Todd. Game 1. He is starting 2 copies of Treasure Cruise. And I believe that's the card he left on top.
I think so. He very quickly is going to sacrifice that Windswept Heath. I think we're going to see him dig out the forest.
Treasure Cruise, like Dromoka's command, is another card that slows down the raw speed of the deck, but also gives it a little bit more staying power and general power.
And there's the Cruise. That'll also trigger Prowess on the Seeker of the Way. So 3 cards coming here for Anderson. God's Wing among them. Also a copy of Hero of Heroes. Hasn't found an Ordeal of Thassa just yet. Unclear if he's found a card like Defiant Strike either.
Looks like he's found Monastery Mentor, Hero of Iroas, and God's Willing. So now the question is he going to cast the Monastery Mentor? I like casting the Hero this turn, and leaving up God's Willing.
I think Todd does too. Now, of course, the reason that Todd is kind of pausing here is because of Languish.
Yep.
That's the real concern.
But if this board gets Languished, well, now you have a Monastery Mentor and a God's Willing with which to rebuild, and the Trailblazer survives.
Yeah, look at that 4 toughness.
Can't kill that.
No.
basically indestructible.
Something like that. That'll be a Nissa. That'll trigger. I'm going to search for a forest, of course. I mean, Jessup will have a land to play.
It just goes to show you how thin your margins are in these tournaments. Danny Jessup, 8-1, a great day one, near the top of the standings. Small tournament, forgiving records for top 8, and could just start off the day with 2 losses and already have his back against the wall.
Yeah. Jessup does play the forest for the turn. I believe a copy of Ultimate Price in hand at this point. Playing 2 copies this weekend. Also has a copy of Den Protector in hand. I'd be surprised if he wants to play that face up in this situation. We'll just pass the turn back. We'll go back Anderson's way. Anderson will draw. Picked up a copy of Ordeal of Thassa finally.
And Ordeal of Thassa is just such a good draw right here because Todd would like a way to initiate, a prowess trigger here, get something going, but not have to just cast the God's Willing. This allows him to have the God's Willing back up, draw a bunch of cards, and attack for a lot this turn.
2 counters there on the Laguna Band Trailblazer. It's a 3/7 in the red zone. Now it is basically indestructible.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I've ever seen.
We know that Danny could not kill it before. It's basically impossible. So now I'm not even sure what the plan is.
Yeah. Todd did draw another copy of Ordeal of Thassa off of the trigger, so he's got one of those for next turn, or later this turn if you'd like to use it that way. Now Jessup deciding where the best place to block. Remember, Seeker of the Way is a 3/3 with lifelink right now because Ordeal of Thassa does trigger prowess. So a good turn all around here for Anderson as he's getting into the red zone.
This is another matchup where Nissa feels like a cost, even though it's, feels like just a flat value play. It's 3 mana for something that doesn't really block all that well. That's a lot to pay.
Looks like Nissa's on chump blocking duty here. To Jessup we go. He's at 4. He's in some real trouble here. He does have a copy of Tragic Arrogance in hand. It looks like he's going to cast that card. So.
Not horrible in the spot, but I think Todd just got him dead on the way back.
Yeah, I think so. With that Ordeal. Anderson will draw. There is Ordeal of Thassa, and that's going to get the job done here for Todd. Danny Jessup's going to concede the game. Todd Anderson's going to win game number 1 here over Danny Jessup. Banteroke up a game very quickly over Abzan Control, which means we'll turn our attention to the sideboards here. We will take a look at Jessup's sideboard yet again. 2 Duress, 2 Drown in Sorrow, 2 Arishan Clerics, and a bunch of one-ofs here in Jamoka's command. A Johnny Mentor of Heroes, Garrick, Apex Predator, Ugin the Spirit Dragon, Ultimate Price, Murderous Cut, another copy of Tragic Arrogance, another copy of Read the Bones, as he has one in the main deck this weekend, and a Glare of Heresy.
Like Glare of Heresy, like Tragic Arrogance, like Murderous Cut, like Ultimate Price, the 2 copies of Duress. I think Drown in Sorrow is defensible on the play, though not a card I'm thrilled about.
On the other side here for Todd in his Ban Heroic deck.
2 copies of Ordeal of Heliod, a Laguna Band Trailblazer, a Trident Tactics, 2 copies of Disdainful Stroke, a Stratus Dancer, an Island, 2 copies of Treasure Cruise, 2 copies of Aqua's Form, 3 Encased Nice. I like going up to the full play set of Treasure Cruises in the matchup. The Stratus Dancer, the 2 Disdainful Strokes seem powerful, and I like the Laguna Band Trailblazer, something that can easily be pumped outside of the range of Languish, something that can be killed by Bioblight, and Todd just needs more creatures to weather the storm of Danny's removal.
But you ain't gonna sell me on the Trailblazer.
Oh, yeah.
It's an 0-4. That's an easy sell.
That game it went to 3, 7.
Yeah, it was huge.
Essentially unkillable.
Todd Anderson currently up a game here. We will talk very quickly about our summer creature collection here with Star City Games. We've got our figures and our friends from SCG Game Night, along with the old Deathrite Salmon.
Yep, you got the Piglet, the Monkey, the Kraken, and the Deathrite Salmon. This is all available. Playmat sleeves in various bundles. You can head over to starcitygames.com/creature collection, order your items today, or head over to our dealer booth at any of our opens or any Grand Prix that we're vending at.
We got Babe the Pig, Furious George, and I don't really know what you're supposed to call Kraken.
Yeah, think about that some.
It's tough.
Yep.
If anyone has a name out there on Twitter, you let us know, because we got names for everything else. Babe the Pig is a little lazy.
That is
probably
lazy.
But great movie.
Charlotte's Web? Is that what you're referring to?
No, Babe is a movie.
Oh, Babe's a movie.
Babe the Pig?
Sure.
No, you don't remember
What's
that?
the name of the pig in Charlotte's Web? This is going to bother me now.
Twitter, bang. They're coming. They'll tell you. I promise. Hashtag SCGRICH. StarCityGames.com/creature collection for more information there as we take a look at Todd Anderson getting ready here for game number 2 with his Bant Heroic deck, a player with a lot of success on the Open Series Grand Prix circuit as well. He's also played a handful of Pro Tours. He currently resides in Roanoke, Virginia. Loves himself some video games when he's not playing Magic.
Wilbur. Wilbur's the name of the pig.
Is it Wilbur?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Charlotte's Web, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. But we see 3 invitational top 8s here for Todd with 1 win. He also got 9th place at our Season 4 invitational last year in Seattle, the one that Dylan Donegan did win. So someone who's had a lot of success on the Open Series and Grand Prix circuit. Most Open Series top 8s of all time. Married to Callie Anderson, the fantastic OP representative for Star City Games, and first woman to ever win an Open Series title. And as we found out yesterday, self-proclaimed best NFL Blitz player ever, and has actually challenged you and asked you, quote, what plays do you run?
Right. What plays do I run? First of all, I'm not going to tell you that. Second, what kind of question is that? I don't know. The ones that look fun? I don't know. It's NFL Blitz. Whatever.
That assumes that there are plays to be run in NFL Blitz, which I did not think were the case. That's like saying there are plays to run in NBA Jam, which can't be true.
I actually kind of play a zone defense in NBA Jam, but
Isn't the play in NBA Jam to pick the Seattle Supersonics? Because they were like unbeatable?
The Charlotte Hornets.
Were they really good?
Alonzo Mourning and Grandmama.
Oh, it was Larry? I thought it was Muggsy.
No.
No? Okay.
They were busted.
Okay. That game was great,
yes,
by the way. It's one of the best games of all time. I tell you, the Cavs, I think it was like Mark Price and Brad Doherty. I don't know if they went all the way back there. It could be really bad Cavs.
There's a version of the game where you could play the Nets as Starbury and Keith Van Horn.
Oh.
And that was by far my favorite team.
Oh, boy. That is I forgot Marbury played for the Nets. That is tough.
Yep.
That is tough right there. Don't call him Starbury, dude. He was pretty bad.
I have a soft spot for him.
Keith Van Horn was nice, though.
He was.
I was a Keith Van Horn guy.
That was also my nickname on the courts in New Jersey.
Keith Van Horn?
The kids called me Van Horn.
Nice. that could be a positive or a negative.
It was both.
Depending on who you ask. Game number 2 going to be underway here between Todd Anderson and Danny Jessup in just a moment. Danny Jessup, he'll be on the play. Lost game 1, Anderson, which is, kind of expected, I think, in this matchup. He does get a lot better after sideboard, as he will take a mulligan. He's going down to 5, so this has been a really rough start here for Jessup. He's got some good tools in the sideboard, and Ultimate Price and Murderous Cut. Tragic Arrogance can be good in the matchup. Glare of Heresy obviously good in the matchup against this base white deck. But another mulligan here for Jessup, bringing him down to 5.
The problem is he's got so many cards that are slow, don't impact things very much, or get tripped up by 1-mana answers out of Todd's deck. So many of the cards that you look at and you say, wow, these are really powerful cards in the deck. All right, well, Nissa, too slow. Courser's not really impactful and bad against Remoka's command. Den Protector, you need to already be winning the game, kind of, for Den Protector to be a powerful card, because it's just so cumbersome. And your removal spells are at least 2 mana. The 2-mana ones don't necessarily kill anything. Bile Blight doesn't work all the time. Ultimate Price is reliable, but doesn't kill Battle-Wise Hoplite. And then at 3 mana, the exchanges you start getting against cards like Ajani's Presence and God's Willing is really, really bad.
Some of our wonderful followers on Twitter have chimed in with Bubbles the Kraken.
Bubbles is not bad.
Bubbles isn't a bad name. Bubbles plays a lot as a name.
The problem is that one's just a good animal name, and we should save it for a spot where we don't have a good name, which I guess kind of we're in that spot now, but it feels like we could come up with a more creative name for the Kraken.
Pierre.
Yeah.
I think Danny's going down to 4. I think. Really good start to his Sunday.
Yep.
Had a tough match last round against Rob. Longray mulligan quite a bit. Now he's mulliganing quite a bit against Todd. Now he's just going to play a basic Plains. Not a great land to start with against Heroic. Anderson does have a pretty good start here with Favorite Hoplite.
Whenever I see Abzan Control win on mulligans to 5 and 4, it just involves a steady stream of temples to start the game off. Find your land drops and find things to play. And the odds are just so high right now that Danny is missing colored mana and just doesn't find the right mixture of action.
Anderson will draw a copy of Mana Confluence. We'll serve him one with the favorite Hoplite. Jessup down to 19. Anderson will go down to 18 from the fetch line. Here's Hero of Iroas. Jessup will draw. Siege Rhino knows what he's found. He's got a copy of Languish in hand, so if he's able to peel back-to-back black sources, perhaps he can work his way into this game. We'll see. For now, Anderson will simply untap and draw a card. Picked up an island. We'll serve in here for 3. Jessup going to go down to 16. Windswept Heath into a favorite Hoplite. Jessup will very quickly draw and pass the turn back as the players are shortcutting a touch here.
Danny's not shortcutting, he's just got nothing to do.
A shortcutting.
If he was shortcutting, he'd be signing the match slip right now. Instead of waiting a couple turns.
Anderson will draw another copy of Mana Confluence. Todd flooding out a little bit here. Doesn't have a lot of action. So, again, if Jessup's actually able to draw running black sources, he could do something here.
Urborg.
Hey, there's a Temple of Malady. Now he's got a decision to make. Perk up in his chair a little bit here. See where this top card's going to go here in just a moment. Okay, you see Anderson's hand, he's got 2 copies of Mana Confluence, so he's got 2 more in lands. He hasn't drawn any way to make his creatures any bigger. Just drew another creature there in favorite Hoplite. Here come the beatdown jet again. Jessup's going to go down to 8. Anderson's going to follow up with another favorite Hoplite. Temple of Silence is the draw here for Jessup.
You can see Jessup with Bile Blight in hand, but another black source that comes into play tapped.
Now, if Todd has a card like Disdainful Stroke in hand, this game is a wrap, but Danny can't really do anything about that. I suppose he could cast Thoughtseize this turn and go down to 6. He takes an attack of 2, 3, 4, 5.
He just dies to any spell.
Line. Yeah, seems a little too risky. Anderson's going to play a Temple. Top card goes to the bottom. Here comes the attack. 2, 3, 4, 5. Jessup going to go down to 3. He'll draw a card. He'll sacrifice this. He'll cast a Languish. Todd will show you Disdainful Stroke, and that is going to do it. Todd Anderson's going to win this match here over Danny Jessup. 2 games to 0. Ban Heroic will take care of Abzan Control, and really it's 2 different sides to the story. For Todd, he's off to a great start. He moves on to 9-2. For Danny, he came in today at 8-1. Now all of a sudden he's 8-3. His back's against the wall.
Yep, and Chris Van Meter in a similar spot coming in to this round as well. An 8-1 start to the tournament, a loser first round of day 2, and now a lot riding on that match as well.
Yeah, so this is getting really interesting and difficult for Jessup. Again, part of the difficulties of tournament Magic sometimes are mulligans and things of that nature, but he's also running into 2 very good players in Rob Vaughn and Todd Anderson to start his day. As oftentimes goes, the deeper you get into a tournament, the tougher it gets. I think we all know that, but this is a tough start for Danny. And really, you know, you're going to put some pressure on yourself as a player for what he's trying to accomplish, which is qualifying for the Players' Championship. And this is such an important weekend for him with Ross not being here, him only being 5 points behind. He starts off yesterday at 8-1. Today's a tough one.
Yeah, and you've seen on display the 2 ways you can go about beating Abzan. It's going to beat anything in the middle because the cards are too good at fighting that kind of fight. You saw Rob Vaughn last round, and his deck's just full of a lot of the similar cards. You still have Den Protector and a lot of the same stuff going on.